This is a conversation with DJ Bliss. He's an Emirati DJ, producer, entrepreneur, and one of the cast members of the popular Netflix series Dubai Bling. In this conversation, we discuss his journey falling in love with DJing, the music scene in Dubai over the years, his process behind creating music, and then we talk about his experience on the reality series Dubai Bling. This is no time. If you like what you see, then do hit subscribe on YouTube, follow on Spotify, rate 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. This project takes a lot of my time, money, and effort. It's my full-time job now. So if you'd like to see it continue, please consider making a donation on Patreon. You can buy Super Thanks on YouTube. You can join as a member on YouTube. If not through monetary channels, do consider sharing these episodes, leaving your likes and comments. All forms of engagement, they really go a long way. For other forms of love and support, you can follow this channel on Instagram or Twitter, or follow me personally. And now, it's no time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
In the movie Almost Famous, this young boy chases this rock band across the country, and all he wants to do is get this interview with the lead guitarist. And every single time he's close to getting that interview, something happens and it falls apart. Until right at the end of the movie, when he gets a moment, and after they've gone through everything together, after so much has happened, the only question he wants to ask the lead guitarist is, "So Russell, what do you love about music?" Marwan, you've often said that you stumbled your way into music. Your elder brother got a guitar, he taught you how to play, then you became part of a rock band with him. When you grew up, you became part of your high school radio show, started DJing to get invited to all the cool parties, started collecting CDs. This is the era of LimeWire, Napster. You've done so much. You've gone through so much. And I want to just start with a simple, basic question. So, Marwan, what do you love about music?
Man, I think the real question is what is there not to love about music, right? It's the thing that brings us all together. It can create happy moments. This realization really came to fruition for me when COVID happened. Everything was shutting down, including a lot of the places like the clubs and whatnot. But people still wanted music. We're doing live streams for people at home. I was DJing for proms through Zoom. And there's a song for everything, There's a song that, or music that would completely change the narrative of a movie or a music video, a situation, an ad, if that song wasn't there. So I think music really creates a lot of emotions, and different kinds of emotions. But I think predominantly happy feelings and good vibes and blissful vibes.
Blissful vibes. Many people have done this case study where they've run a scene from a movie, and if they played suspenseful music or horror tunes, horror music, suddenly the scene changes. Or if you play whimsical music, suddenly the whole vibe is different.
Yeah, it says a lot. From a young age, as soon as we're born, you're getting sung nursery rhymes to you, and then you go in and I'm just watching my kids who are 4 and 6, their musical journey as well, or my niece who's 12, her musical, there's just it's part of every day, and it's part of everything in life. And I think it's what brings us all together. We can speak different languages, we can look different. We can feel a certain way about what's going on around the world, but music, that's where you move everything out of the way, and that's where we all connect.
Prince had once said, music is music, ultimately.
One of the greatest.
One of the greatest. If it makes you feel good, then that's cool. You had written in an Instagram post that music has been my savior. I definitely agree with you. It's such a powerful thing. You've come a long way from hosting your high school radio show to your first professional gig at Wonderland Water Park.
Yeah.
As you've grown up in Dubai, you've also watched the city grow up. And I think it would be fair to say you've had a pulse on how the music and entertainment scene has also developed. You used to host the culture and entertainment show in Dubai One. You used to host a lot of radio shows. So what's it been like? What was the music entertainment scene like when you started? And then walk me through the history of its evolution. How did it change over time?
Yeah, when I first wanted to get into radio and DJing, it was predominantly run by expats. And historically, a lot of the expats, especially British expats, they came here and set up a lot of the TVs and radio. I remember when I'm growing up, there was only one radio station, that was Dubai 92.
Yeah.
And that's still there. And on TV, it was Channel 33. which is now Dubai One.
When 92 used to run like syndicated shows, right?
Syndicated shows, yeah. Well, it's funny you say Casey Kasem because he's one of like my idols. Like one of the people I used to listen to. Rick Dees and Casey Kasem were my two. It's crazy you say that. So anytime I mention these names to anyone, they're like, yeah. I'm like, you Rick Dees. You don't know Rick Dees? So I used to listen to Rick Dees and Casey Kasem like all the time. That's why a lot of people ask me, how'd you get this American accent? I'm like, well, I used to listen to radio presenters to learn from. And those presenters were Casey Kasem and Rick Dees. So, like getting influence from them, like I used to listen to a lot of their shows before. And when I tried to get into it, there wasn't really anyone there. I remember getting in as a DJ first, doing some mix shows. And then just like trying, push my way around. Kind of like similar to the story of the guy who wanted the interview. I was just always just hanging around. I was like mixing the music, the songs that people listen to at night, just mixing them together, like editing, putting the ads in, like just hanging around until I got my, opportunity for a job. And when I went on, it wasn't a very common thing to hear a name like Marwan, who was like on an English radio station. Like it was very, very new to people. But today things have changed. Like I always used to say like I felt like I was the black sheep, and now I'm like the black sheep amongst many black, white, red, blue sheeps, because that's Dubai, We were talking about this earlier. Dubai is really changing, and it's really changing fast. And it's cool to see. I think it's a lot more clear for people from an outside perspective rather than you're over here, because I'm living next to the building that's going up so quick. If you only came to see me like once every 6 months, you're like, whoa, it's went up like 6 stories. I'm like, well, I'm just watching it every day. But I acknowledge and I understand the magic or that wow factor of Dubai that the whole world is so fascinated with, because it is fascinating. It is a pretty cool city. It's what's kept me here all this time. There's so much going on, so much that comes to here. We have like everything over here, so it's hard to leave.
When you're talking about when you just started off on radio, and it wasn't a common occurrence to hear a name like Marwan on radio, and you've said in a magazine interview in 2014, does Dubai hold me back in the club scene? I'm not going to lie, it used to.
Yeah.
Before I started, there was barely anyone local working in English radio or DJing. So when you were starting out, what was it like to be an Emirati DJ? Did you receive support from the community, or was it still a profession that was looked down upon?
Because I was DJing, that was like the first thing I ever did. It wasn't looked down upon is such a like strong phrase. I mean, it was definitely not part of, our culture. And I always said the same thing. I said, as long as my parents are happy with it, that's what I care about.
Were they?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the start.
I think they saw how I maneuvered through it. I came from a family of just a lot of siblings that were working in multinational companies, and I was studying IT, and they were hoping that I was going to get a job in that. But I just had different plans, and I think they saw it. I was DJing for a bit while I was in college, making my own money, saving my own money, buying my own cars and stuff like that. And then as soon as I graduated from college, I got a radio job. So when I got a radio job, it's more like, it's not DJing, it's radio. Yeah. But the radio and DJing really like worked hand in hand for me, and it allowed me to do what I needed to do. And, I always not only took it for what they believed in or what they accepted, I wanted to continue to make sure I got their support, and it would, make my life a lot easier if, my parents were down with what I was doing. And it got me to where I am today. I think they made the right choice. I think I made the right choices. I've made mistakes, but I always learn from them quickly. And I think they're super proud of me. They've always been, whether it was on TV or radio. They always used to say, "Hey, why don't you get a good real job or a real job?" But they'd still like sing my praises, like send like forwards of like any of my work that I was doing to like families and stuff like that. So
can you explain your process behind creating music? Let's say you're hosting a workshop and you're walking me through the journey of a song. So when you sit down to create a song, What's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4? How do I create song?
You know, I've never been like one for the conventional type to like just sit down there, hey, we're going to create a song today. Like literally each one of my songs, I can tell you a whole different story about whether I heard a sample somewhere, I was in, listening to some chants and I thought this would be cool piece to put in, an old song that I heard that I wanted to remix, or just a full brand new song. So, I think every song of mine like has a different story about it. And that's why I probably have like 100 unreleased, unfinished tracks, like just all in idea mode. But I kind of like come up with these ideas. Think about it almost like you put out a whole bunch of papers in front of you and you have like draft ideas. Like I like Indian on this one, I like Arabic on that, I like Brazilian on this. This kind of drums, this kind of, and then you put these ideas together and they're all just sitting there until one day I just like, I really feel like this is the one right now. So then we go in there and we sit down and we start finishing it and, adding the rest of the beats, or we're going to get a singer on it, or we're going to feature someone on it. Kind of similar to what we were doing right now with this next song that we have, I always wanted to do this like collaboration of like Indian, Afro house, Arabic style song. So, I had the beat ready and I started pitching out to different singers and producers. And then eventually we got it together. Then we're like going back and forth. She had to record her vocals, send it back. I had to like edit the vocals, make sure it sounded good on it. I don't like the setup. I don't like the way it's structured now. Now it's different. So I have to go back in. And the song was supposed to be released like a month ago, but I'm just like, it's just not ready. And until the song is really, I feel like it's ready, I don't want to release it.
How do you know when it's ready? Is it like gut instinct?
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
Yeah.
How do you train that? Like
I think just years of experience. And I think us as humans, they call the gut the second brain. I think like we have this instinct within us and we don't really tap into it as much as we should. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, what we were told or what we were taught as kids. It's always like, no, don't do that. Don't do this. Don't. And these stories I kind of like learned and experienced through my own kids. And I see that there is this like curiosity in kids. There's a real curiosity over there, right? And if you really nourish that curiosity, you can create something really beautiful. Like these kids are like fearless, like jump from that table onto this table, like fearless, yeah? And you got to give them that courage, you got to be their support. You got to be careful, obviously, make smart decisions, but also nourish that feeling. And that's what we get with our gut instinct, A lot of people say, trust your gut, trust your, that inner voice. It's all the same thing.
Okay, so the stage, you have a lot of ideas. You've come through the studio and you've said, okay, I'm going to add some beats. I'm going to maybe add vocals. Let's talk about those devices that you can use, whether it's the beats, tempo, melody, vocals, bass lines. Imagine you're a chef and you're pointing out the power of each ingredient that you're putting in the dish that's going to add flavor to it. Yeah. How can I use these different tools to change the tone of the perception of a song? Let's say, how do I play with the beats or the tempo? How does that change a song?
I mean, a lot of different things. And I think a chef is the best way to explain it, actually, because like even think about spicy food, right? You can have spicy food. Hey, do you eat spicy food? It's a very bad question. Do you eat spicy? Makes a big difference if you put 1 spoon of red chili or 5 spoons of red chili. They're both still spicy. Yeah, but one of them, like, I will not be able to handle, and the other one's going to kill me. You know what I mean? Same thing, coming back to the same song that I have coming out next, right? Finish the vocals. Now I listen to the beat. I'm like, the beat was cool on its own with no singer on it. But now I have this girl singing on its very angelic voice. So now when the song comes in, I don't want it to be like bam, 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 bam. I want it to be like bam, 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 bam. And to change that, instead of doing this bam, 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 you just lighten it up like bam, 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 bam.
Even though you started with the beat, like how do you decide what's priority? Like the beat will not change, everything else will change. Or now that you got the vocals, I'm going to go back and change the beat.
You can, yeah. That's exactly what you have to do. So you have this like, imagine like you have this like, almost like, here, let's try to explain it with the Legos, right?
Let's do it.
So this is my drums.
Never been done before.
Yeah, this is my drums. This is my bass. This is my guitar. This is my vocals, right? It's actually pretty accurate over here. So let's say
my masterpiece.
Were you making something?
My Burj Khalifa.
Your Burj Khalifa?
It's over now.
Okay, I don't need this.
No, it's
actually.
fine. You already destroyed it.
All right.
Okay.
So imagine this is my song, right? Yeah. I realize that now here, this is a good one.
Yeah, thanks for breaking my...
So this is full song. This is boom, 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 boom. This is... This is... And this is ha, la, 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 la. Right? Full song. Need to break down, need to slow it down. So what do? You take out the drums and let's say the vocals next. So what do you have left? You have the bass and the bass and the drum. So boom, 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 boom. And then you bring it back. So you can bring back the vocals later on. I want some more vocals over here. I want the drums back. Actually, you know what? I also want the little small piece of the vocals over here. So you build the track like that. You go in there, you adjust the volume, you adjust effects and whatnot. And at the end, you have a track. And of course, there's a standard layout of a track. Like we all know, like when we listen to a song on the radio, there's a verse, there's a hook or a chorus. Sometimes there's a bridge. So you kind of like, it's hard for me to explain this thing because I've never really been taught it, but I just know it. You know, there's a standard of how songs are structured. Almost like a meal, you know, you have your starters, you have your main course, and you have your dessert.
What's the structure of a song?
A good structure for a song, I would say starter, main, dessert.
I know what you mean, but even I can't explain it.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know exactly. It's so interesting, right? Because even with the dish, for example, when you eat something that's good, you just say it's good, but you don't really think about, how much salt has gone into it or like what's the science behind it.
There's a difference between good and other words like phenomenal. You know, and it could be a fine line, by the way. There could be a fine line between just good matcha and wow, this is the best matcha I've ever had.
What's a phenomenal song?
What's a phenomenal song? Oh, man. I think Eeny Meeny by Justin Bieber and Sean Kingston is a phenomenal song, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because I have these like kids at home. 10 months old, 4 years old, 6 years old. And my niece, who's 12, is over right now. They're having a sleepover. And they're all rocking to that song. Phenomenal song. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
No, if you sing it, this might not monetize. YouTube might flag
what
it.
What is going on?
How did Justin Bieber start singing in this
song?
I love
Black Coffee is a phenomenal DJ.
I love the science behind it. I also want to bring it to performing and DJing as well. Let's say you were hosting How to Become a Successful DJ for Dummies Masterclass. What are 3 things you would tell aspiring DJs or 3 things that you wish you knew when you were starting out?
Yeah. You got to work. So I'm guessing you already know how to DJ because that's the most important thing when you make that decision. Yeah.
Let's assume. But what goes into knowing how to DJ?
It's just something you have to spend time on, like any art, like any craft. Like you have to sit down, you have to practice, and eventually you get the hang of it and you just get it.
What are you practicing?
You're practicing mixing music, your genre that you're, what have you decided to play? You're Afro house DJ, you're a hip hop DJ,
UK
you're
garage.
That's what I used to play before.
Yeah, Artful Dodger, MC.
The best.
Yeah.
That was the era where I started, actually. So you learn about those things. Let's say you have some know-how, and these days it's not that hard. The equipment's made life a lot easier. You can press the sync button, match the beats. But you have to understand, like what I said, the structure of the song, how to mix it, what you want to mix. And I would say the 3 most important things after that, one is brand. Like you have to really create a brand out of what you're doing. There's a lot of great songs out there. There's a lot of great DJs, a lot of DJs now. But how you stand out, it's your brand, right? A lot of different products out there on the shelf. But what makes you pick a certain product? Is it familiarity? It's you've put an offer in place. It's buy one, get one free. How you pick up this hot sauce compared to all these other hot sauces. The second thing, which will probably work hand in hand with this, is you got to master social media. Yeah? Now, people are going to see this and say, you don't have to master social media. Then you have to be an effing good DJ. Like, you have to really be like, oh my...
That your work speaks for yourself, right?
Deep. Like, you got to be like, wow, G really came down and like chose this guy by himself kind of vibe. But how are you going to convince this club manager that you are that guy and to give you a chance? And when you do actually perform over there, that you're actually going to do well because you did great in your bedroom or your parties when all your friends were there. But how are you going to do when you have 1,000 people that you've never seen before? You don't know what their taste is, what they're like. So it's complicated. So what do you have to do? You have to get on social media. You have to get more comfortable with numbers and people and let managers see that this person has a real potential and I'll give you a chance. And you have followers too, people commenting. You have like 100 people commenting. Oh, that's cool. That means that you have 100 followers. If you post a flyer for me, 1,000, you have 1,000 followers, 1,000 people going to see my flyers. Good. So those are 2 things: brand, social media, and the third thing I think you absolutely need to have is like a persistent and consistent drive for success. Because a lot of people quit, a lot of people don't make it to the finish line. They just quit like right before they're gonna make it. And they say this. It's a line that's out there that 99% of people quit like right before they're gonna make it.
When you said, okay, you might perform in your bedroom, but it's a very different ballgame to perform in front of 10,000 people. How do you adjust? Do you have to adjust your set, your music, depending on how the crowd's reacting? Let's walk through maybe 3 examples of a crowd that's got different energy levels.
Yeah.
Do you have to change your set to match that energy, or do you just play what you presented? You don't want to deviate from what you started?
No, of course. So, coming from a hip hop open format background, which is what I used to do up until about 3 years ago when I started playing house music, I think it was very important. You couldn't play Turn Down for What when people were walking into a wedding. So you adjust.
That's where you lose me.
And then right now, I think in the house journey, I'm learning about it a lot more because, like, for example, yesterday I was DJing by a pool. Yeah. Pool vibes are different from when you're DJing at an Untold festival in Romania to like 10,000 people at an arena closing set right after Armin van Buuren just did a 3-hour trance set. We're not playing the same song. So you kind of know in advance. And then when I get there also, I don't, unless it's a big show and like, we have a specific time, like you plan your set so you know what you're going to play at and you synchronize with the pyros and the lights and the screens. But other than that, yeah, I kind of just show up. I mean, I have a special style. Like you would know it's me playing.
What's your style?
I'm trying to create a new style. And I think right now with what's going on, it's a blend really of, what's out right now, which is very popular, which is Afro house, a little Amapiano, Latin house, Arabic house, Indian house. And, somebody would say, well, you're naming every genre, but actually there's a relation with all these styles of house music where they're calling this whole genre Afro house, but it's not only Afro house, right? It's really tribal or percussive house. And that's what we all share, the Indian dol, the Arabic darbuka, or, the Khaliji drums, or the Latin congas. Put them into a song, make you vibe, make you have fun and have a good time, which is what all those genres of music do. And that's what I'm doing. My last song, Arabic Poppy, I kind of like sampled like a very specific type of keyboard that we used to play in like all our weddings or any Arabic party. My next song is an Indian song, and I'm sampling a pretty popular sample, which was like released to the public. So now, everyone can use it. And that's the great thing about what's happening with technology as well. So many great samples on things like Splice. So it's an Indian song, and I have another one waiting to go, and it's a Brazilian song. So very different, but if you heard them all together, you'd know like, oh, this is Bliss.
There'll be a theme.
Yeah.
I think this is fascinating. I'm happy you've like pulled the curtain aside and shown how some of the magic happens.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dubai Bling. I don't know if you've heard of this show.
Dubai Bling?
Yeah. I know you've been asked this question multiple times. I've heard you answer in multiple interviews, but I do want to ask the same question because
I like the questions that you ask and the way you ask them. So go
save
ahead.
It till the end. Now maybe it's only downhill from here. But I want to ask the same question because I think it'll set the context for all the other follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So how accurate are these reality shows? If you had to put a percentage on it, how accurately did they depict who you are as a person?
How accurately do they depict who I am as a person? It's a complicated question to answer. So I'll answer in a different way. I think what they produce, is TV, and we're not involved in that at all, right? We're not involved in the edits. We don't see the show before it comes out, and it's kind of like their thing. How I feel like I was depicted when I watched it myself is I didn't feel like it was all me. I was trying to be me, and sometimes I kind of felt like it's not the way I do things or how I want it to be. But then you kind of like let it go and just do whatever you have to do, and because you're not in control, right? You're taking these Legos, your Legos, right? You're giving it to someone else to build for you.
Is that all editing? How they change the narrative?
I don't know how they do it.
Or is it like because you also in front of the camera, it changes things, right? If you have 5 cameras pointing at you, the conversation is way different now.
Conversation different. I mean, people act different also. That's the other thing, I noticed like a lot of situations in my career as a whole that when cameras start rolling and you're in a room with people, like they really change. It's not the same person that...
I'm sorry, Marwan, I should have kept this. Been the same person. The moment it started rolling, became bad cop. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So if you had to put a percentage, how do you think, how close was it?
Hard to put a percentage.
50% maybe?
Hard
Ballpark?
Hard to put a percentage because it's difficult to answer that question. And I think it's a very good question. And I think for the purpose of any reality TV, I think there's some like smart thing about it, right? Where let's say I created this reality TV show, right? And let's say me and you were on it. And you like didn't know I was here, right? You randomly were in this coffee shop and hey, Marwan, you're in here today? I'm like, yeah, I am. Come, let's have a seat. And then we're sitting here doing this interview. Does that seem real or fake to you?
Pretty fake.
Pretty fake, right?
Yeah.
So, and let's say like we had another scene where this part of the show, right? We were doing this exact same thing, minus the mics. We're having a pretty serious conversation, right? So the intro of it was too fake. Imagine we did that as the intro for this podcast, actually, right? Imagine you're like, I was drinking my matcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just show it to you. Hold on.
It's okay.
All right.
A live demonstration, I like it. And go.
Oh,
Hey, Marwan.
you're here?
How convenient I've got the mics and cameras set up.
Oh my God,
Yeah, that's
mic
crazy.
set up
Yeah,
too? Podcast?
crazy.
So what I'm saying is if we did the intro of your podcast like that, super fake, right?
Yeah.
And then we had this great conversation. You're asking me great questions. You're clearly, did your research and you know everything. We're having a really good, deep conversation. So when someone asks me about this podcast and say, hey, is it real or is it fake? I can't answer the same answer across because I have to say, well, the intro, it was fake because I was walking past the room and I just kind of stopped. Obviously there was a mic and my matcha cup was in my hand and
all the cameras in the right spots.
And the saucer with the biscuit was on the table, guys. Does that answer your question?
It does. I get where you're coming from. And that applies across the board, right? It's not just you. All the cast members would feel the same way, right? Or you feel some cast members were better represented or maybe even worse.
On screen?
Yeah.
I don't want to speak on anyone's behalf, but I personally, and I've been in this industry for a long time. I've had a long career in television presenting, radio, DJing, and people change. People change when they're put on screens. And the camera is not really the representation of what changes people. I think, fame really changes people. And I've just seen this too many times before. It's just like right before my eyes. Like, you were this guy literally yesterday, and now like a completely different guy or girl. So I've seen it too many times, and I think that's just part of life. And I think I'm talking generally over here. It's across every, I think, industry or anything. Fame, I think, really changes people. And if you don't know how to be, if you're not humble from the start, and sometimes you have to go through it, you have to learn the lesson. I understand, like, I have to go through my own humbling lessons in life as well. But yeah, and I think a lot of it happened very fast. You know what Dubai Bling was like? It's just been 3 years. 3 years, 3 seasons, back to back, filming, and it's a great show for Dubai, great opportunity for the city, for the cast, for all of us.
Do you fear, when you spoke about how people change with fame or with cameras on them, do you fear that for yourself as well? Like, were there moments where you watched the show and you felt like, oh, I didn't know I do this, or this is something I need to work on? Were there any moments of introspection when you watched it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very difficult schedule, process, pressure. And I went through, I was dealing with a lot during the filming of it. I've actually never really spoken about it in depth or detail, but I was really like dealing with my own personal stuff as well during a lot of the filming as well. And yeah, I caught myself sometimes like, I'm like, this is not even me. But most of the times I was watching myself and I was like, I didn't even do that.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, facts, 100%. Not like I'm not sure. No, I know for a fact. I know I said that latte tastes good. How do I look like I hate that latte? Yeah. Like I said, the Legos, you give it to somebody else and you say, build my Lego for me. And it doesn't come out the way you want it, or sometimes not anything close.
You brought up how this was a good opportunity to represent Dubai. How do you feel, we were talking about how accurately these shows represent people. I want to extend that broadly to the city as well. How do you think it represented Dubai as a city and the life here and the culture here?
Dubai Bling, you mean?
Yeah, Dubai Bling, the show.
I think it showed Dubai beautifully. Aesthetically, I think Dubai just looks so beautiful on that show. I think it gave people a glimpse into real life of Dubai. I know some people will say like, this is not Dubai. It doesn't represent, it doesn't represent all of Dubai for sure. But I think it definitely does represent, the glitz and glamour of Dubai. It also gave you a glimpse into the lives of, 8 different people, different nationalities, conversating the way we do, which is a mixture of Arabic, English, fighting, swearing, and not just the regular TV shows that we see, that we're used to, especially in the Arab world. And then I think a lot of, people realized how similar we are rather than how different we are. And, it's related to a lot of people around the world. I did a tour in Australia, like it was just fans like crazy, love the show over there.
I was in New York and people used to come up to me all the time because they knew I was in Dubai.
Yeah?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, when season 1 came out, I was running the New York Marathon a month later. And I was running in the street and one girl looks at me, she's like, hey, are you the guy from the show? The show had come out like a week before that. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot of people in New York. Around the world, I think it was filmed very well. And I think people really liked it because they were able to see like people in like a regular environment. And I think Arabic TV or movies is very like overacted, dramatic.
Very scripted.
Yeah.
Yeah, very planned. This is more organic, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring this up because I probably fall in the other category of people. I found it very challenging to watch Dubai Bling because I just couldn't relate to it. Like, it was like watching...
Same.
A sci-fi.
Same.
You were in it. It was like watching a fantasy movie for me. And I agree with you. There's a sense of pride that to a certain extent that Dubai is being represented on such a global level. There's a global platform. But beyond that, it was very hard for me to feel proud about the show because I just couldn't relate to the life, the environment, right? That's not the Dubai I grew up in. Honestly, what it felt like to me was it's the representation of the city of someone who doesn't live here, and that they're just amplifying the stereotypes, right? Because if you ask someone in the streets of New York, what do you think of Dubai? The first thing that comes to mind is fancy cars, a lot of bling, luxury, brunches, things like that. If you ask me how to create a reality show about life in Dubai, and I'm sure you would agree because you're a Dubai kid as well, I would show Ravi
I'm
restaurant.
the kid from Dubai.
Yeah, you're the kid from Dubai. I would show Ravi restaurant or Jabal Al Noor Antar cafeteria.
Yeah.
Those 4-5 dirham falafel shawarma wraps, Hassan Matas, 1 dirham karak chais, right? Creek, Burjuman, Lamsi Plaza, exactly, right? But what it felt like when I was watching the show was more like this is an outsider's perspective of what life in Dubai should look like because of the stereotypes. And as a result, like it did I think to an extent it represented Dubai on that scale, but then it felt like it did a job of amplifying the stereotypes, so it sent the wrong image even further. I don't know if this is a stupid take.
No, it's not a stupid thing. It's a Dubai kid feeling that you have, and it's 100% valid. And people are entitled to feel like that. And I think the best way for me, because I sit on both sides. If you go to my vlogs, you'll see everything you mentioned. It's all over there. Like I'm that guy. And by the way, after my concert on season 2, we went to Ravi's. But there was a lot more that I wanted to do. Actually, a lot of stuff that I would send in was like stuff like that. I wanted to go on the Abra and old school
The
Dubai
souks,
and the souks. But look, like what you said, right? When you ask that person in New York, you know, what they think about Dubai, this is what they imagine. So what you want to show people is that and more, not less and less. You know what I mean? And I think those things would be cool to see, all the things you mentioned. And I'm like 100%, like I'm that guy. Like I pull up into Satwa with a Lamborghini right in front of Ravi's, give me that Nahari and give me that Halim, and let's
go
get to work.
Satwa Bling. That's the show that we need.
Satwa Bling.
Let's go.
I would do that, but I think for this kind of show, that's the format that they chose, and that's what it represents, and that's what it's for. Not to say that there's no room for another show like that. There is tons of great content, but I don't think it's really like the format would not have worked in that situation. Getting a little technical, but I've always had. I mean, if you go to my YouTube channel and you see the vlogs I used to do back in the days, like it's all that.
Yeah.
Like
Even older, Bliss in Dubai.
Bliss in Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro, you're taking me back.
I don't do the research. I hire people.
Oh, really?
What do you mean? I don't have time.
ChatGPT? ChatGPT?
Even worse, unpaid interns.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Old school.
Did you really? Or no, I think you did it yourself.
You take a guess. It's a one-man show.
Yeah. Bliss in Dubai. See, now you're taking me back because Bliss in Dubai is a show I made on YouTube, which was a reality show about my life in my office. And I was filming it with these like flip cameras, hiding it in cupboards, and like I was doing that like, and then if you check out like my first vlog ever, it was like ahead of time, like a long time ago. And I had a full like pilot about a reality show. And it was called like, I was going to make Bliss in Dubai like a full pilot about just life in my office. And it's always been, if I pull out like my notes, like you'll see reality TV has always been on there. Sometimes they say, be careful what you ask for because you just might get it.
Manifested it.
Yeah, when you manifest, I think manifest exactly what you want, you know? You got to be a little careful on your manifestations. Because if you say, hey, I really love horses, I want a horse. If a horse shows up at outside your house tomorrow, you know how much it costs to take care of a horse and like how much food you have to give it and all that? So next time, better wish for a farm with a horse on it.
20 years ago, I said I'm going to interview DJ Bliss. And I started like putting your picture, you know, there's the pins, manifested all of it.
For real?
Yeah. We're going to make Satwa Bling happen. Al Mala Cafeteria.
I'm
Al
down.
Bakery.
Those are all my spots.
That's my Dubai.
Khafayef, Malah, Jabal Noor,
Let's
little
go.
Hassan Matar, chicken mayonnaise.
Dubai Bling could never do this, but this is what the real
lemon
real
chicken. Let's do it all.
Let's do it all. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Let's start wrapping up before we move into
We're not going to name the juices. You don't want to know Abood, no.
I know. There's also the Burj Al Arab.
Burj Al
Khalifa.
Arab. Some of the names we can't even mention.
Yeah. I love Abud. Oh man.
Abud's a good one.
Abud is no one's gonna even know what Abud is. Just saying random.
No
names,
idea.
Right?
Go if you're watching, if you're in Dubai, if you've never had it before, go to any cafeteria, preferably Jebel Al Noor, or El Ijaza is a good one as well.
Yeah.
And go in there and just say, "Give me a Abud drink." All right.
Your juice needs to be in like floors. It doesn't have sections in it. Then it's juice. Otherwise, it's not juice. Let's start wrapping up before we go into the closing questions. What masterpiece built the Lego? What do you think?
This one, you have something in mind?
You tell me.
Maybe a ship. Ship, maybe? Pretty cool ship, deck with the pool. Little tower over here. Captain's up in the front. I'm going to go with ship. This is downtown Dubai. This is DIFC. DIFC over here. Emirates Towers, the Gate Village.
How did you know? Masterpiece, and you got it in 1 second. Okay. Last 4 questions. What are some books, movies, role models that have strongly inspired you?
Books. First book I ever read from front page to back page was The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho. Changed my life. And it also really got me into reading for someone who said I'm never going to, I don't think I can ever read. So that's a good one. What was the other thing?
Movies, role models.
Movies. What are some good movies? I don't know if they were like inspirational movies, but I like movies, a lot of Quentin Tarantino movies, and I also like Guy Ritchie movies a lot. A little Snatch, a little Pulp Fiction, Lock, Stock, and Barrel, yeah. Pulp Fiction, definitely like one of the greatest movies ever, I think.
Who was or is the greatest musician of all time?
Difficult question. I
what
think
do you think? Easy questions.
right up at the top. I think Michael and Bob.
Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson.
Bob Dylan?
Bob Marley. Bob Dylan?
I had 50%. Oh, what's wrong with Bob Dylan?
No, it's not that he's bad, but I think
hating?
when we talk about the greatest alive, the greatest to ever have done it, like we're talking about Bob Marley, the guy who like died 50 years ago, and I play his songs today and they still love it. And Michael Jackson, I think just the king of pop, the greatest to ever do it. And, I was in the Gold Souk one time with some friends of mine who were DJs. And I remember there was a guy, he was a Bangladeshi guy. He was speaking in Hindi, Urdu with me. And he's like, yo, this guy's like, he's really like very Michael, right? I'm like, what? He's like, very Michael. He's like, uska style bahut Michael hai. I'm like, is this guy talking about Michael Jackson?
Michael Jordan, maybe.
No, definitely not Jordan.
Michael
Bublé. Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, that's like timeless classics.
What would you like your legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for someone who paved the way for, others. I want to be an inspiration to people, when you ask a question like this years from now for, someone from Dubai, I hope somebody like mentions my name in any way or form. Having been in so many different careers, I think, people can have a real chance to see that like you can do it no matter what. And, I did it in an era where nobody was really doing it and, continue to do it. And I'm still on my journey. That's been the secret for me. It's never been about the destination, always been about the journey. And I hope to inspire the young youth in the city. And, Dubai is a very fast-paced, changing place. It's not like we have just generations growing up over here. People coming in and out all the time. But, to kind of like cement yourself in the culture over here and be an inspiration to people, I think that's what I want to be remembered for.
I hope so. Final question, easy one. What is the meaning of life, DJ Bliss?
Yes.
Yes?
I thought you answered it. What is the meaning of life? DJ Bliss? I'm like, yes. It is. Absolutely.
DJ Bliss is the meaning of life.
I think that is the meaning of life. I think finding your bliss is the meaning of life. And, wherever it is, in your career, in your music, in your love, and in your own skin, just find your bliss. Find that place. And that's what life is all about.
Find your bliss, put it on a t-shirt, start selling it.
Done.
I think it's going to make a lot of money. Marwan, if people want to connect with you, find out more about you, your upcoming work, where do they find you? Where do they connect with you?
Best place is probably on Instagram at DJ Bliss. And then, for like shows and tours and whatnot, I get it up on my website, djbliss.com. But yeah, I'm on all the social media as well. But I think Instagram is the place where I like to live the most.
Instagram and the website is the place. Marwan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
No, I appreciate it, man.